That ain't gonna keep me down because I gotta grind through it.
The grind. Yes.
All right. You ready for the intro?
Yes.
All right. Boom. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Reps That Count podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Valentz.
And I'm Adam.
We cutting it?
No, that's perfect.
All right, perfect. Let's go.
And these are the reps that counts. The reps that count are the daily triumphs and struggles that we all go through. In weightlifting, it's the last 2 reps that build true strength. And same thing for life. It's these obstacles that we overcome that really play a vital factor in living a successful life.
100%. All right, Adam. So before we get to the question, we got to make the announcement. We changed some formats and some things. So, we want to just tell the people. Yeah, so
we're trying to get a little more organized. And obviously, we're growing with the show. And we decided that we're going to add a little structure to the show. So we're going to explain the topic. Well, first, our question of the day, we're going to explain the topic. And then we're going to relate the topic to the body. So to fitness and nutrition and health, vitality, the mind, and how you can apply whatever the topic is to building a resilient mindset, and then to relationships or connection. And we still haven't come up with a good word for that, but pretty much how you can apply that topic to relationships with your significant other, with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers. And
also we're starting to drop every 2 weeks now. So instead of every week, we're going to do every 2 weeks.
I thought we weren't doing that anymore.
No, we are. But we're dropping every week, but it's going to be like a short.
Okay, cool.
A short episode called, I think we could call it like the AMRAP.
Yeah.
Or something where I feel like what we could do is just answer questions from people.
Yeah. And what would be cool if it was done on the floor. While we're weightlifting.
Yeah. Just something quick. Yeah. Like a quick 15-minute conversation about something. Yeah. So
and then we hit a rep. Bam!
Yeah.
Then we hit a rep.
And then full length. Yeah. So,
I like it.
So we'll still drop every week, but one of them's going to be short. One of them's going to be long. But this is a full length, full regular Reps That Count episode. And let's get to it. So before we get to the topic, question of the day, Adam, what's something you've done in the past week that you are proud of?
This morning.
Okay.
So I've been training every Saturday with it was actually my old boss and friend. He's still a good friend of mine, son.
Okay.
And I've seen him since he was like 13 and now he's like 18. But we've been training every Saturday and he's competing in weightlifting in high school. So it's cool because my son is young. He's 4. And so to have this like cool dynamic with someone who's a little bit younger and kind of set an impression, like he wrote one of his college essays after me and the impact I've had. So which fucking brought tears to my eyes, dude. Like God. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's been awesome. And he goes away to college at the end of summer. So trying to get as many Saturdays as possible in. But it's been awesome. So it was really awesome because I had a really good weightlifter there that gave him some good cues. And I know he appreciated it. His eyes lit up when you were snatching. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't even realize like how like deep that relationship goes. Like it's cool because I feel like there's a reduction of like male role models these days. And like it's awesome that you could still be a role model to.
And I'll tell you, like his dad is the man.
Okay.
Like he's my role model. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So his dad's the man. And for him to still find some value in hanging out with me is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. And it was awesome. We're lifting with you guys this morning. Yeah. All right. For me, this is something that you could probably almost relate to or something that could be on your to-do list. I cleaned out my inbox.
My
email inbox, bro. Like it took like 2 hours, no exaggeration, of just deleting, unsubscribing. And
how'd you do it? Was there a hack, or you just hacked away at it?
I don't think there's a hack. I just like what I would do is kind of like if there was like a company that emailed me, like let's say Zillow, because I've been looking for a rental, I would just like type in Zillow and just like delete everything from them or whatever. Then I'll just keep going. And I just got down. I unsubscribed to a lot of things.
You
like,
went in that hyper focus, bro. You were in
yeah, like me and my girl were just like on the couch watching Scandal, and like again, it was legit took 2 hours.
I have a show for you. Show plug.
What's the name?
Shrinking.
Yeah.
So
what platform? Because there's like
it's on
too many
Apple
of them.
TV. Which
See, that's the one I don't. I feel like I have.
I feel
that
like
one.
you can get a free subscription for like 3 months.
For every time you buy a device, they give it to you. So I might have like 9 months worth at this point, but I've never used it.
It was so good, good. It's about therapists, but them living. It's a therapist practice. But they're living like everyday life, and it's funny, but it's like tear jerking at some points, and it's their relation, and it's all like, oh man, it's so good.
I like that. All right, I'll look into it. Shrinking. All right, cool. So episode 15 today's. Do you want to introduce the
grind?
That's the topic.
Yes. So the topic is the grind, which the grind is the daily challenges and obstacles, just like the reps that count. Mm-hmm. The reps that count is the grind.
Yeah, it's the grind. Yeah.
That we face on a daily basis and how we get through it. And a word that really stuck out to me is related to the grind is grit.
Yes.
And grit is so underrated because grit is not talent. Grit is not motivation. Grit is doing the ugly work.
100%.
Like just doing it.
Yeah.
Even when you don't want to. And I was like, oh man, like even the word grit just sounds good to say, dude.
Yeah. I mean, and here's another way to relate grit and grind. It's like sometimes you have to grind things until it smoothens out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, and like, that's why I feel like for me, the grind is not something that you're supposed to stay in for long term or forever. It's just a period in time until you could get to a smooth road for a little while, and then you just cruise it out. Like, because a lot of people are just like grind. It's like you can't grind forever.
You can't do it. I did write some stuff about balancing the grind. Like if your life is a 100% grind,
yeah, it's not fun.
That's not fun.
Not at all.
And that was the way it was back in the day. I was looking at just the grind and throughout history, and some people only lived through war. Their entire life, was war.
Yeah,
that's a grind, bro.
That's like you can't
but we don't have to really do that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy. So. All right, we're gonna relate this topic to the body.
Cool. I think this should be kind of easy.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. So, the way I wanted to relate it to the body is the grind is the work to reach a goal.
Okay.
So let's say you set out to lose 100 pounds. That daily work that you don't want to do, that's the grind. So there's periods when we're talking about fitness, and you have your accumulation phase and your intensification phase where you're trying to build something, and then you eventually get to a maintenance phase.
Okay. And
the people that are just grinding all the time and don't really give themselves these patterns, downslopes and patterns, they end up burning out. So you can't just hit it hard every single day all the time because you're going to burn out. You have to start with the goal in mind and create a plan, and also plan in your rest and plan in when you're not going to be grinding anymore, and plan and that's what a lot of people do. A lot of the clients that come to me, before they come to me, they've been at this fitness thing for 5 years with no results, but they're busting their ass. And I don't necessarily think that's the grind. Or you're just trying to shave away at everything.
Yeah.
Instead of shaving the corners that will make the peg fit in the hole. You get me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I think one of the things though is like the other grind is not eating that donut that's in front of you.
Yes.
Like that right there is like the grind, because that's the tough thing. Because like if you're at this for 5 years and you're not getting results, one of the ways that people end up not getting results is like you're hitting it hard Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you're just making the worst possible decisions. Like you just throw everything off balance. Like those first 5 days cannot balance the last two, because like you're like on the boat drinking every drink possible, and like you lied to yourself thinking the seltzers are just the healthy choice, but then you're chipping and dipping, and
you hit it on the money. Like you're lying to yourself, because you know. And I don't sell knowledge, I sell accountability, because people know these things, and they act like they don't know.
You kind of have to let them catch themselves.
Yeah, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what broccoli is compared to McDonald's. You know you know these things fundamentally.
And that's why I say like the grind to me is just like doing those things that like it seems like it's not necessarily important, but it's really hard. Those are the really, really hard things to do. Like, you know, like you go to the office and it's pizza day. Like, how do you look at hey man, you know what? I could be in a room and, you know, be part of the pizza party, like end of the quarter celebration, but I'm not eating pizza.
Yeah. That's a powerful place to be. So there was one of my old bosses in New York. He was a real gangster, dude. Like he owned bars and like, you know, he was Hell's Kitchen guy, Irish guy, real gangster. And when when I worked for him, he was sober 17 years.
Oh wow.
He still worked in bars every single day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm talking about right there.
The discipline that takes, you are an alcoholic. You are never not an alcoholic, right? Like you just, there's times where you're sober. There's still an alcoholic and you're sober. So to be in that position every day and have that discipline, like people that are sober, dude, and that's sober from alcohol, drugs, but that's also sober from shitty food. That's sober from shitty conversations. That's so like cleanse yourself of that shit,
dude. I got to that point, bro.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I'm like, yo, yeah, 70, like that's why I believe in the 75 hard so much, because I'm at that point where I could be at a party and not drink. Yeah, Christmas Day, I could be like, yeah, cool. Thanksgiving, like I eat healthy on Thanksgiving.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, but yeah, like again, like when it comes to the body, it's like doing those things, and then workout wise, I think the grind is finding the time to do the reps like when you're tired, right? Like when you come home from work and you're drained and you have two choices. You could sit on the couch and not do anything because you didn't make it to the gym, or you could go for a walk. That's the grind. That walk is the grind. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it, but it is.
That's the nugget that I wanted to hit, where we're doing a nugget for the mind, body, and for connection. So just a little takeaway. We wanted to have something that you guys can actually implement. And I think even when you don't want to, doing something, even if it's 5 minutes of walking, even if it's a couple push, whatever, just to keep that streak going, just to check the box is important.
100%.
So there's always something you can do, something, and just keep that streak going for as long as you can.
Even a walk. Yeah. So 100% do something. And that 5 minute walk that you're like, let me just walk for 5 minutes. Next thing you know, it's been 15, and like you're processing things in your mind. So 100%. All right. The mind.
Okay. So we already spoke on discipline. So even with the body, the discipline comes from the mind. So they're connected, and everything's connected. I think when it comes to the mind, what I really wanted to touch on, the grind relates to one of our very first episodes, which is getting through the winters. And we all have winters.
100%.
So being able to hold fast and not do the woe is me thing and still do the work even when life is complete shit, that is the grind.
What, dude? Like, you got to keep moving.
You have to keep moving because the world is going to keep moving.
With or without you.
Mm-hmm.
With or without you. The world will keep moving. Like, you could sit on the couch and, again, like, make all the excuses and complaints. Oh, this only happens to me. I just have bad luck, yada, yada, yada. But, like, you have a choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you could choose to, elevate above the situation, or you could let the situation take control of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. So there's the mind, and you're not your mind. If you haven't read The Untethered Soul, read it. It's amazing, and it will explain how your mind is just something that you have. It's another tool, but you're yourself, and self and mind are two completely different things. If you let the mind run wild, it's going to take control of your life, and that's when we give into temptations, and that's when we give into just feeling like this, like you don't have control. Self is discipline. Discipline is not the mind. The mind wants to do whatever it wants to do, and you have to control the mind.
Mind control.
Mind control. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So using the mind as a tool instead of it using you is important.
Okay.
When it comes to the grind. So it's the obstacle is the way. It's stoicism. It's doing these things without getting overly emotional about it. You can feel, but you still have to do the work.
Yeah.
That comes from self and discipline. Yeah.
All right. I think I want to kind of relate it more to just like everyday things.
Yeah.
Like mind and mental is like learning a new skill, right? So, or like going back to college or deciding to go to therapy to work on, your past traumas or situations, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like that's another thing that requires a little bit of a grind, because when you first start learning a skill, you're going to suck at it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people kind of give up. It's like, oh, yeah, I suck. But this making the decisions to start and stick with it, that's part of the grind. Because like at first it's going to be rough. Like what you're producing is going to be ugly. Your lifts are going to be terrible. Like the podcast, right? Like we're still grinding through this, but we're polishing it up because this is a new skill or a new product that we're, developing. So I feel like that's something that's part of the mind. Like, because, again, when you're learning a new skill, it's something that like empowers you and your mind. So I wanted to relate it to that also.
And the grind has to be difficult for it to be considered the grind.
Yeah.
If it's something that you're already used to, you're not grinding anymore.
Yeah, you already polished it up.
You polished it up. But I finally finished the Huberman podcast with David Goggins. Finally.
Because I know David Goggins grinds all the time.
Yeah, and I took something from that.
Did you?
Because if you're good at it now, or if it's something you enjoy, even if it's hard, it's not the grind anymore. Like the grind is the stuff that you don't want to do. And that's where, they were talking about neuroplasticity and that section of the brain that I can't say. But I'm not even going to try to butcher it. And that only grows from doing things you don't want to do. Not doing hard things.
Nope.
Doing things that you don't want to do. And I found that so powerful.
Yeah. And they say it makes you live longer.
Yeah. So that I related that back to a book that I read a long time ago, Eat the Frog.
Okay.
Trtc, I forgot. But they say to wake up, figure out the one thing you don't want to do, and do it. That should be the very first thing that you do. And if you do that, that's the key to being successful.
Okay.
Because there's these things that we don't want to. Oh, there's so many things I don't want to do. But there's these things that you don't want to do. And that's where the growth is. That's where like the real deal growth is, and we put it off, bro. And we like just store it in the back.
I would take care of it later.
Yeah, I'll take care.
I mean, I didn't want to wake up at 6:30 or 6 o'clock this morning to come here and live. And you know, I did it.
Yep.
All right, cool. Did we have a nugget for that?
So that was my nugget.
Okay.
So when you wake up in the morning and you're looking at your priorities for the day, make sure one of them is something that you do not want to do. Make sure it's that one thing that you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But if I do it, I'm gonna be better for doing it.
Yeah.
Don't wait on that. Don't let that be the last thing you do that day, because you might not do it.
You're not gonna have the energy to do it.
Do that
but if
first.
you do it first, it'll give you the confidence and the boost to
Your
do the rest of your thing.
You feel so good.
Yeah.
If you just do, we never feel bad after we do these things we don't want to do.
Not at all. All right. So now let's talk about relationships. I think this is gonna be a tough one.
Oh man.
We're close. Oh, it's already 8?
Yeah.
Wait, it's already 8
minutes.
Okay.
That sucks.
It's all right. So
relationships. Yeah, so this one is simple, not easy.
Okay.
Because we get so caught up in our lives, especially with a significant other, that we forget to nurture relationships, especially with a significant other, because you see them every day and you think that is nurturing. You know, I
just see you. Yeah.
We're in the same
You
house.
a hug. Yeah.
We're in the same house. But that's not quality time, and that's not really connection. That's just companionship.
Yeah.
Where you need to put in daily work into a relationship. And sometimes I forget. I'm not perfect by any means. But it's something that I at least try to keep front of mind. We spoke about this, how most marriages, I guess the average.
Yeah, it's like right around year 7. It's like when everything just starts like breaking down, when everybody forgets to put in any effort in relationships because they're just so used to. Yeah. Like they're just like, okay, cool, I know exactly what I'm doing. They get too comfortable in the relationship, and then just it goes bad.
And then people, they're like, oh, my significant other isn't doing this for me. Why am I going to put in the extra time? Instead of remembering it's not 50-50, it's 100-100.
Yeah.
And you have to put in your all. Both of you have to just put in your all the time.
And you have to be open about it too, right? Sometimes you just got to be like, hey, I don't have a lot of energy. Like I'm going through whatever I'm going through. Like I'm giving you everything that I have, you know? I think that's important. For me, what I had was just like, it was simple. It's either giving up or falling back in love.
Yeah.
I think that's the grind right there. Like when you get to that point where, like, you know, the time is just dark, and like the easiest thing to do is just be like, okay, cool. Like we gotta just end this. It's gotta escape. Again, sometimes it's the right decision, but other times, like, I think the right decision might be to sit down and figure it out, because it's weird. Like relationships are like a weird thing to navigate, because at the beginning it's always just so beautiful and perfect, and the person just like, oh, this is my person. And then you get to that, 7-year mark or whatever it is, and it's like, damn, like how'd I get here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is. I think it's the toughest one to navigate, because sometimes it's not the right person.
Yeah.
So I can't tell everyone, oh no, you got to make that thing work.
Nah.
That's not my, I don't know your history. I don't know. Like, that's not my place to say. Every relationship is so unique that's no one's place to say except a therapist. Or
maybe not even a therapist. It's really you, but you have to be in a position where you know you, and you're comfortable with expressing exactly what you want, and figuring out if that person could give you back what you want, and then knowing if you could give them what they want and need. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, it's like, if you're not comfortable with knowing what you need, then you're kind of settle for whatever that kind of feels good. And then you end up in a position, because you are in a mask. Yeah. you're pretending to be happy because, oh, this person gave me that feel good feeling for, a couple dates. And it's like, yeah, I'm just committed to this.
Oh, yeah.
And, again, so it really comes down to you and your mind and knowing what you need and want.
I agree. And so this was my nugget. And it's more about setting time for communication. Mm-hmm. So and I'm going to implement this. I'm never going to say a tool that I'm not trying to implement. I want to implement this starting this Sunday, setting aside an hour to review how she's feeling, how I'm feeling, where we're at in terms of parenting, where we're at in terms of finances, where we're at. Like 1 hour, no TV, no nothing. Let's just sit down and talk.
Tough talks.
Like let's get super used to having tough talks.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of stuff just goes unsaid.
Yeah.
For too long.
And then you just assume things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, I'm still very much in the beginning of my relationship, but like I'm implementing the 12-week year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like I have my 3 goals. Like I wrote them down last night. And like one of them is like to, build or continue to build my relationship with my girl. And, I have different things in mind to kind of like, date nights every couple weeks or, trying new things, dinners or experiencing something together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to plan that out.
And I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. And that's it.
Sorry, we got to cut this one.
Sorry, I got to coach class. That was sorry. But that was great. I like the format.
Yeah, man. Nice little 30-minute, quick in and out. Episode 15.
Bam.
The grind. The reps that count. So yeah, thank you for everybody for joining in.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you again in kind of 2 weeks, maybe. Well, really next week. It'll just be a shorter episode.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It might be a full. We'll see.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.